Hi everyone, my name is Shaun. A bit about myself. I've been playing music pretty much my entire life. I was born and brought up in Malaysia, but my heritage goes back to South India. I actually started learning tabla by accident, actually. I was introduced to meditation a while ago, and I saw the tabla being played, and I said to myself at the age of 11 years old, I wanted to learn an instrument, and yeah, I started picking it up, and here I'm doing it. So what I normally wear is a kurta. A kurta is usually something that gets worn in a very in an Indian function. Usually just symbolizes culture. Usually it's actually hand woven. So it's pretty much made out of, like, at the moment this is actually made out of cotton. So but it looks really nice and just represents who I am in a culture wise. So history about the music of Indian classical music. So there's two sides. It's basically divided by geographically. We've got the north, which is Hindustani, and the south, which is Carnatic. What we're going to talk today about is the Hindustani style of music. So a bit about history about the music. Initially the music started off with music in the royal courts in the Mughal Emperor's time. This is around the early 1400s, I think probably beyond that. But initially music was just for those who are in the royalty or who are courts, basically for the royal courts. And then basically it started off with this musician by the name of Tansen, and he goes, well, why don't we make music available for everybody else? We don't have to pay a lot of dollars for it. And that's when music evolved from just the standard instrument to basically exploring it to basically a royal thing. And now here we are today. In Hindustani style of music, we've got different types of things. We've got the top normal recital. We've got when vocal comes in, we have a what we call the Khyal Tumri style, where it's like a really slow section, and they just show their vocal range and how well they can pull it apart and things like that. And we have the Tumri section, which is a really fast section. What we're going to show you today is a really simple devotional song, quite common in a lot of in Hindustani style music. It's a bhajan, as they call it. So it's B-H-A-J-A-N. So bhajan is basically a devotional song. It's invoking the deities of the Hindu mythology. So for this one that we're going to do today, we're going to be talking about the deity of Lord Ganesha. Now Lord Ganesha is a deity that is considered to many like the beginning of everything. It's like the removal of obstacles. Whenever we start the marriage, it's always about saying an invocation to the Lord Ganesha. When it comes to the ceremony itself, they always talk about giving respect to Lord Ganesha because it's the foundation of everything. They say whenever you start your new job, you always put an invocation to Sri Ganesha because it's a way to respect, just remove your obstacles, make sure you have a good day and things like that. Entering or exiting the house, really, really simple stuff. Again, it's like the beginning of a lot of things. So what we're going to do today is we're going to sing a song that essentially is able to, that praises the deity and talks about the qualities of the deity. So Sri Ganesha is actually an elephant-headed god that basically has one tusk and bears the moon on the forehead, talks about his qualities, his aestheticness and things like that. It's usually in a setting, if this is being sung in a devotional setting, but sometimes people like to sing it as well. They would say it as a form of a mantra. They would say to themselves, just as it's as a removal of obstacles essentially. So yeah, what the role of the tabla usually does, and the harmonium over there, which we got on the right over there, which we'll feature it a bit later. The tabla role for this one, as would a normal drummer would do, it basically provides the basic rhythm. So the rhythm that I will be playing for this one over here is in an 8-beat cycle. Now you may think 8, 16, what is this? No, it's just think of it like it's in 4/4. Essentially it's just 2 bars of 4, and that's what I'm doing over here. So the beat cycle I will play it's in Kerwa, or also we can do it in Bhajni, which is basically a beat cycle that was devised for this one because it's a really simple thing. It's something that people can just sing along to, nothing too complex. You don't need to know what's going on, things like that. Ganesha, 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 Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Ganesha, 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 Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Sumukha ekadanta, Sumukha ekadanta, Kapila Gajakarnaka, Kapila Gajakarnaka, Gajakarnaka, Gajakarnaka. Ganesha, 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 Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Ganesha, 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 Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Lamboda Vikata, Lamboda Vikata, Vignanasha Ganadi, Vignanasha Ganadi, O Ganadi, O Ganadi. Ganesha, 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 Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Ganesha, 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 Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Dhumraketu Ganadyaksha, Dhumraketu Ganadyaksha, Balachandra Gajanana, Balachandra Gajanana, Gajanana, Gajanana. Ganesha, 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 Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Ganesha, 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 Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. Oh, Jai Jai Shri Ganesha. We are here to talk about the tal, which is the beat cycle. In this example, we'll be talking about the teen tal. So, teen tal is spelled like teen tal. It is a 16 beat cycle. Important is the sum, which is the first beat. Okay. In Western notation, we're talking about basically 4 bars or 4/4. That's what it is. Okay. Put that into one box over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 4 grids. 1, 2, 3, 15, 16. So we mark the sum as an X. That's the beginning of it. Okay. And we also mark a special sign, an O on top. That basically means it's when we open the sound of the biome. Basically the left hand, rather than playing it together, it becomes just open, and it's mostly the right hand side. Okay, so I'll write this again. The X is sum, O is Kali, it's when left hand is close. Okay, so the strokes for teen tal: dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, tin, tin, tha, tha, dhin, dhin, dha. And it basically loops back to the beginning again. So, how it goes: dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, tin, tin, ta, ta, dhin, dhin, dha. So with the beat cycle, there are multiple ones that we have. The one that I'm going to talk about today is the 16 beat cycle, which is teen tal. For Western relevance, we can talk about it like it's in 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, how would we count it in our fingers? In tabla, it's not we write it and then we tell it. It's more like I will enunciate the words and you'll try and work it out to me. But how we learn is basically using our fingers. So we see we got 4 parts of our fingers. And that's how we count it. So essentially this will be number 1 and that will be number 16 over here. Okay? So the teen tal strokes goes like this. Dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, tin, tin, ta, ta, dhin, dhin, dha. Every tal or rhythm cycle that I just explained to you has a kali, which is a section where I don't play the bass. So dha, dhin, dhin, dha has the bass. Dha, dhin, dhin, dha has the bass. Dha, tin. This is what we call the kali, where I just play only the right hand side of the tabla. Tin, tin, ta, ta. And then I open up the sound again. Dhin, dhin, dha. Okay, so here's a demonstration on the tabla, so you can see how it goes. Dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, din, din, da, da, din, din, da. So the role of the instruments, we have multiple instruments, essentially, as I was saying before, but today I'm going to show you the tabla first. Okay, so a bit about the tabla. Initially, when it was first made, it was made like this. And then Tantan goes, well, okay, I want to split it apart. Boom, and here we get with the tabla. So we've got the bass drum, which is known as the daga, okay, or they call it the bayan, okay, and then we got the tabla. The tabla is more trebly, and we got the daga or the bayan, which is the bit more bass, okay. So material-wise, how do you learn it? How would you do it? Essentially, you would play with a couple of strokes, and I will demonstrate some of the strokes. So we have the da stroke, which is this, okay, and then we got the tin stroke, and then we've got the te, we've got the big te, and then we got the small te, and then we've got tin can also be like this, like a bit more of an open sound, and then we've got a very cool kind of sound, which is basically like a dere. The best analogy I can think about this is basically, think of like you're sweeping a floor. That's the sound that you basically make. That's what happens, and you can go faster. So that's the treble side, and then we have the bayan, which is the bass. Okay, so we got ge, and then we got ke. Okay, and usually how we play it, essentially, we have our hand just palm like that. Think of it like it's falling, but you're making sure that this part just hits here. That's the sound you get. Now, this is more of an important stroke. This is more like a sedentary stroke. So you play ge. Sometimes you have ge na, and then you'll have that. So that's not as important. Now, combine these two together. You have dha, which is dha, and you get this stroke, which is basically together. And you get din, which is dhin. Okay, and then you have also what we call where we just play just the tabla by itself, which is ta and tin. Okay. So a bit about history about these guys. They initially, like I said, it was from the Bakawach, which is that. It was played for mostly with a, so this used to be a much more lower kind of sound. It's actually in parallel with this one over here. But then they decided, well, okay, we don't want lower sounds, we want a bit of a high sound, so that's why they bring this out a bit more. You can get a variety of ranges of pitches. The highest I have seen is this. This is the highest I've gone, which is E above middle C. And the lowest you can go is basically E, which is 2 octaves below middle C. So that's what we have over here. There's a tabla over here. And the way it's made, you have basically a cowhide skin, and just basically get put over. The middle bit, fun fact, is actually just clay. So really molten clay, and it's just a little bit of powder. Chuck it on top, rotate it, keep doing it as much as you can, make the lines, and let it ferment for about a week, and then boom, that's your instrument right there. And it's based on the resonance. The shahi, as we call it over here, is what makes the tabla sound. Now, if I were to put my hand over here, I'm going to get a really dead sound. But if I have this, it's really resonant. Same thing with the bind as well. If I do this over here, dead sound. But if I have this, it will be there. And that's the tabla in a snapshot. Okay, so how do you play the tabla? How does it work? Okay, now the different styles of playing, but this was taught by my teacher, Pandit Nayan Ghosh, who's actually a fun fact, the guy who actually made this encyclopedia. You guys should definitely get a copy of it if you have it, if you can see it. The way that he was taught by his father was when you play ta. Essentially, what you do with your right hand, two of these guys are basically banded together. Plant it over here, okay? Thumb, stick it at this point over here, okay? Now essentially you want to make sure that your shoulders all the way straight, okay? And basically this part of your finger, that's the ta, okay? And then the middle finger should not be in the way, it should be out of the way, it should be completely out of the way. I'm exaggerating it over here, but normally when I play I'm just like that, that's how it is normally, okay? And then when you play tin, I actually use this part of my finger over here. So essentially what I do is I basically do a bit of a band motion. Now, very common, sometimes people tend to go like this. So you want to try and, when I was learning it, I actually had to put rubber bands over here just to make sure I stick them all the way through. And imagine there's blue tack on this, the thumb over here, and I just go like this. Yeah, so that's that, okay. Now we've got the two thetas. Okay, essentially what you do, the first one is basically using these two. So if I were to go da tete, I just do that, yeah. And you have the bigger one, which basically use these three fingers. Whoop, boom. That's the motion. Usually you use the the bigger ones more if it's like a really slow tempo kind of stuff. The smaller one, it's more like when you're trying to do like really fast passages. So show you a bit of a quick demonstration. This is a beat cycle that's in 12th. It's called Ektal. So I'm just going to show you really one quick example of the difference between the te, the small te, and the big te. So I'm going to do it with the small te, with the big te first, and I'm going to do it with the small one. So. Now I'm going to do it with the small te. And that's pretty much a big, quick snapshot of a tabla. So you might be thinking, well, how do you play tabla? What are some of the material that we would have? Okay, there are a couple of things when it comes to a tabla solo. Because it has a melodic sort of component, it is rhythmically focused, but there is a pitch element to it essentially. So you're focusing mostly, think of it more of a sonically, trebly and bassy kind of sound. So in terms of an order of a tabla solo, if you were to attend one, you'll have different factions of it. You start off with a peshka, then you go with a kaida. Peshka is more like an introductory passage. It's kind of like, oh, okay, I'm just warming up, just showing what I'm doing, kind of get you into it. And then a kaida is more like a, okay, all right, let's have a chat. Let's keep going. It's kind of like a conversation when you think about it. Now, first I'll explain to you what's happening, then you'll see how the conversation goes. So I first start off by introducing myself in my peshka. When I play it, if someone's well educated with the Indian classical music, they'll know the peshka based on the way I'm playing it. Certain styles of playing in tabla will be very significant. That's the style of music you play. So for example, the style of music that I'm playing is the Farrukhabad Gharana, which is the school of music that I'm part of. And Farrukhabad is a town in India. So essentially in Farrukhabad, there's a particular style of playing. So you have a lot more of the bassy kind of sound. So a lot more bassy kind of sound. Other parts will be a bit more focused in that kind of thing. So with peshka, I introduce myself with knowing that this is what I do. Kaida is a bit more of a show and tell, just showing what I know, what my skill set are. And then you have different other passages, which is basically like a tukra, which is more like you have a twin part. You have like, there's a call, and then you have a response that happens after that. And then you have a wrapping up passage, which is basically like a gut, and it's just like you're basically playing tabla at the speed of light, figuratively. Kaidas are meant to be played in double speed. Okay, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to quickly enunciate what I'm going to play, and then I'll play that afterwards. Okay, so what we're going to do is first we have whenever we do a kaida, we always start with the bass cycle, which is in this case tin tal. Okay, so we go dha din din dha, dha din din dha, dha tin tin ta ta din din dha. And then what's going to happen is now I will enunciate the kaida, but here's the fun fact. I will enunciate the kaida in single speed, then I'm going to do it in double speed. Kaidas are performed in double speed just because of how intricate it is. Think of it this way, it's just math subdivision. That's basically it. Same beat cycle, but I'm just fitting more into that particular thing that's going okay. All right. So here's a really simple kaida. Da ti dha ge na dha tere kete dha ti da ge tunna ke na ta ti ta ke na ta tere kete dha ti da ge tunna ke na. Okay, now when I'm going to do it in double speed, what's going to happen is I'm going to do that twice, because when I do it in double speed, because I'll take that one full cycle, it needs to fit in that in the beat cycle, which is 16. So dati take nata terika dati take tuna kena dati take nata terika dati take tuna kena dati take nata terika dati take tuna kena dati take nata terika dati take tuna kena. That's a quick teaser. And with the variations, we can do so many things with that. We can plug, play, we can take B team, A team, and that's a really good example. I'm just going to show you a quick example. Usually with these solos, you have a loop melody that gets played with it, and right now I'm just going to have one happening right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, so we've got the harmonium over here. Harmonium, think of it like you're playing the piano, but except you only have one hand to play it. This is a double reed harmonium. So basically there's two reeds, you have the bass and the treble side of things. So what essentially you do is you just pump the air in and you get a note. And as you press the key, it just has a particular thing goes through. Now, as we open the inside of the harmonium, we can show a bit of the mechanics behind of the harmonium. As we can see over here, okay. So we've got the different holes. When we pump the air in, it comes straight through over here. The holes, the air will just come through over here. Essentially, as I pull up the knobs, it's just gonna close, open, open, close. Now these guys over here are you can have like drones, which will help you open up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and essentially, if you can see over here, you got little reeds. These are aluminium base, copper base with aluminium foil around it, and that's the reeds over there. The air blowing essentially resonates towards these guys over here. So essentially, what happens is the key, when you press it, it will trigger the note that's being played in the reed over there. Okay, so it's a kind of like a pulley system. So essentially, when I pump the air in, the more I pump the air, the louder it's going to become. So for example, if I play a middle C, the more I pump, and then what will happen is I'll not be able to close it fully because there's so much air. Again, because you're blowing air into a small box. So it's tuned towards those particular notes. Why those particular notes? Because those are the common notes that you would have in singing. Harmoniums is used for a singing occasion, so it usually works on the sense that it helps you with the singing, make it work. Essentially having the bassy reeds and the top reeds. So we have what's going to happen is towards the left, we have one reed, and then we'll just show this one sound. See, it's a really bland kind of sound. Take that off. Second one has a bit more bass into it. Third one has a bit more of a higher kind of sound, mid-range. Kind of like mid-range, but it's just more flat. Now, obviously, if you combine all of them, I'm going to open all four. Got that really nice, holistic kind of sound. So the role of the harmonium in the song that we're doing, essentially what I'm doing is I'm going to be playing a couple of chords, and most of the chords are working in tandem with your normal Western chords, your C chord, D chord, B minor, and things like that. Although the notation is a bit different in the sense that we focus more on sa, re, ga, ma, pa. Think of sa, re, ga, ma, pa as your do, re, mi, fa, so. So it's a basic way of solfege. So for example, sa can be C, D, E, F sharp, whatever, and things like that. So it's a movable do, essentially. So in this case, I'm going to be playing in the key of E, E minor. Okay. 9 out of 10 times the tabla, which I showed before, will have to be in tune with this, just because it gives that tonal center. So we work based on tonal center. So in Hindustani classical music as well, we don't address them as C, D, E, F, G. We'll say white 3, white 2, white 1. White 1 refers to middle C. Black 1 is C sharp. Okay, very common for singing to be in these pitches. I've pushed myself a bit more with E because I like this E. It's quite nice. So now it's got a color. So so I'm just going to play an improvisation in E. So I'll play a particular rag. So we'll be playing, because we're in raga system, this is your major equivalent. Yeah, so we call it the Bilawal rag. That's a sample of the harmonium. So if you can see, as I pump, I'm being very modest with my pumping, because if I pump more, it's going to sound very loud. I will probably can't even hear myself. I'll be like, it's too much. So at the end of the day, a lot of times whenever we play and depending on what the setting is, if it's the harmonium is a solo, I do have the cover open. Normally, if it's just accompanying someone, I just have the cover close, and that's how I see how we play. Ganesha, 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 Ganesha.